Hi YouTube, it's Alan. It is December 12th, 2022, and I am 8.5 years on T. And so this is a belated update video. There's not much to report in terms of transition-related changes, of course. I mean, just aging changes, really, like a little more facial hair. I haven't shaved in a while, so you couldn't see there's something there, but not a lot. I keep this all the time, and then usually I just fully shave the sides, so, yes, there you go. Anyway, a side note, I've been sick with a bad cold for a good week and a half, and so if I cough or sound a little congested still, that's why. Or if I seem a little tired, that's why. But I felt inspired to make a video. So, okay, getting back to it. So other just time and age related changes. Less hair on my head, as you can see. I'm very strongly balding. And I'm used to it at this point. It's been happening gradually for a few years. And, I mean, I would prefer not to be balding, but, I mean, it hasn't been getting me down that much. I mean, it feels pretty natural, and, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really that bothered. So I guess that's all I have to say about that. Something that's unrelated to transition is that during the pandemic, especially in the last year, I have gained weight, and it's more gone to my midsection rather than being evenly distributed. Like, for example, my forearms or wrists haven't changed that much. Like, I don't know that I've really had to adjust my watch or anything, but I have gone up like a size and a half. Well, I guess kind of all over, actually. Like, I've had to gradually, over time, get what has now amounted to pretty much a completely new wardrobe. So that's been a bummer in terms of money and clothes that I really liked that don't fit me anymore. And I've had to do a lot of mental work to try to learn about and resist our cultural fatphobia, which I think is just like homophobia, transphobia, etc. It's culturally created. There's not any inherent truth to it, as I've said before, and it's just an arbitrary cultural thing that we have at this moment in time, and it's very highly, highly damaging, and I think flies under the radar and is accepted and celebrated maybe more than any of the other aspects of discrimination against people or the other forms of hating people. Because, like, with racism and transphobia and stuff, yeah, there's a lot of people that embrace those hatreds, but there's also a lot of people who speak out against it, and but that's much less the case for fatphobia. it's like very accepted and praised in this culture to be fat phobic and to say bad things about people in relation to weight. So it's been really eye-opening to continue my journey, which started, years ago, but is still continuing, of kind of uncovering this stuff and seeing it with a different view rather than just taking it for granted and accepting it. So I'm really glad that I've been doing that. It feels freeing and super important for myself and my inner life, as well as for my perception of and treatment of other people. And I just feel so horrible for things that I've said or done in the past where I wasn't questioning fat phobia and diet culture. And yeah, I just wish I could go apologize to everybody that I ever said stuff or alluded to stuff to that was supportive of fat phobia and diet culture. It really sucks. So anyway, I've been working on body acceptance for myself. Now, I mean, I know, like I'm not trying to say that, like, oh, I have the appearance of being very fat, or, sorry, I know different people have different words that feel good or bad to them, but anyway, like, so yeah, I know that I am still definitely not any kind of big target of people's fat phobia, which is a unearned privilege. So I'm not claiming to have the experience and insight that somebody who would be a target, like a true target of that, would face. But still, I have been working on body acceptance, both acceptance of how I am now and for however I might be as time goes on. It's so important just for peace, for getting through the day without lots of horrible feelings. And it's been going pretty well. Like, I've been feeling pretty good generally, and I have made progress with it, and but again, I'm not trying to say that I have the the biggest hurdles or roadblocks with it, because I'm still what would you say, like, pretty, like, my appearance is quite conventionally acceptable. So I'm not trying to say it's not. Anyway, okay. So there are a few books that I want to mention. They've been so important for me, and I think they could be so helpful for other people. And so one of them, I'm gonna show them to you in this janky way because I don't have time to edit videos and I don't have the books with me. You can see a reflection. Oh, what do you know? A reflection of my house. Okay, so here's The Fuck It Diet by Caroline Dooner. This is a pretty funny and insightful and powerful book about diet culture and how horrible it is, and how dieting simply does not work, period. That's not an opinion, it's a fact. And she gets into lots of explanation of that, and that the idea is that if you just let your body do what it's going to do, listen to your body's signals, and not try to restrict your eating at all, and just get back to a more like intuitive way of eating. But also she goes beyond the like official concept of like intuitive eating, like that there are books about and stuff. So that's an amazing book and fun to read. And then a very important one that maybe digs a little deeper and gets a bit more into science and stuff. And did I say that? Maybe. I guess sort of a more serious book in a way is Body Respect: What Conventional Health Books Get Wrong, Leave Out, and Just Plain Fail to Understand About Weight by Linda Bacon. Well, this is odd because on my copy of the book, like elsewhere, I've seen her name as Lindo. So I'm not sure which is right. This picture says Linda. And also by Lucy Aframore. So that is a really wonderful and important book. And then another different kind of book, like a memoir, that relates to this topic that I found very entertaining and also very eye-opening and powerful, and that I would really recommend is, you may have heard of this, Shrill by Lindy West. So very, very good read. So there you go. There's some recommendations. I really encourage you to check them out. And on a related note, something that does relate to some trans stuff, trans culture stuff, and I've mentioned this before. There was one video where I got into this that I ended up deleting it because I thought I was a little too unkind, maybe. So this is the issue of bodybuilding. In recent years, I've seen bodybuilding become really big in trans men culture, and to me, it feels toxic to me personally because of this body acceptance stuff and anti-fat phobia, anti-diet culture stuff I've been working on that is so important for my physical and mental health. And I would think it would be important for everybody's health, really. But anyway, it feels toxic to me personally. I don't want to say it's toxic, period, because I don't, I'm not inside of other people's minds. I don't know how they feel and how that works for them. But yeah, so like when I'm coming from the perspective of trying to accept my body just being the way it is, and trying to like resist traces of diet culture and fat phobia, and also now looking back and realizing how damaging diet culture and fat phobia has been to me over my whole life, and of course other people's lives too. It's kind of like seeing content about bodybuilding and stuff like that it's like, to me, it feels like it's part of all this cultural stuff that has already done a lot of damage to me and loved ones, and so it just feels very much not good to see any of it. Because bodybuilding is about appearance, it's about having super low body fat. That's kind of, it's like having a lot of muscles, having low body fat. that's kind of what defines it. And so that involves lots of like very regimented and prescribed and restricted ways of dealing with body movement and exercise and food. And I've seen some videos and content and stuff from trans guys who are into bodybuilding, and there's a large focus on restricting of food and eating according to a prescribed plan rather than eating what your body is telling you that it needs. And so there's nothing in there about like being in tune with your body and your feelings and your urges and your instincts. It's about what you are supposed to eat or not eat in order to achieve a certain appearance. And let's see, I want to not keep like rambling like this. Let me just see if I can get my point out. Yeah, so it involves lots of restriction, and even though it's not worded as like, I'm on a diet, that's what it amounts to. And they don't like, and so anyway, yeah, you hopefully can already get my drift. So yeah, there's a lot of bodybuilding content out there in wherever trans men or anybody puts out content, Instagram, YouTube. So I've had to be very careful with, and sometimes largely limit my exposure to trans men stuff, because bodybuilding keeps popping up all over the place. And it, like I said, it feels toxic to me personally and counter to my lifelong process of working on accepting me, whatever that means. And I mean, I think for people who do bodybuilding, like if it's kind of helping you through your life and your body image and gender dysphoria and stuff, that's fine. I kind of doubt that one could keep up bodybuilding for like one's whole life though, so, or if you get injured or something, you'd be faced with trying to either just feel horrible about yourself and your body or work on it, accepting it at some point. It's probably going to come back around to that. And it's hard, but it can be done, and it feels really great once you make some progress with it. Anyway, other stuff. This video is vastly longer than I anticipated, but anyway, just a few other update things. So, life updates. I still have my same job doing GIS, Geographic Information Systems. It's going pretty well, and I'm living in the same place as I was in my last video, my studio, which I like. And I still have my girlfriend. We've been together for almost 3 years, and I love her so much, and we have built in the process, always continually, of building a really great, supportive and fun relationship, and I'm super thankful for her. And I have gotten back into Buddhist meditation after not doing it for, gosh, like at least a year. My practice just crumbled with the pandemic, basically, like with not being able to get out and have the in-person community around that. But I've been getting back into it, which feels great. And I have also been more or less, you know, in my own way and whatever, practicing Judaism for kind of 2 years, something like that. So that's been really great and really meaningful for me. If anybody out there happens to have any recommendations for trans-related Jewish anything, resources, books, whatever, let me know. And one interesting thing is I feel like I've become more sensitive to transphobia or trans ignorance over time, which is interesting, I guess, because I've been exposed to it more. Like I've accumulated exposures to transphobia and stuff during the time that I've been trans-identified and transitioning, and so that's tough. It just gets to me more and more. Like in the beginning of my transition, I was like, oh no, I totally understand people having curiosity about my body and my body situation, and I totally understand wanting to ask questions about it, and that's okay, you can ask questions. But now I'm like, no, people should not ask about a trans person's body. Do not ask me. So that has changed a little. And also related to that, it's been, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, I don't know, since I've looked at comments on my YouTube channel, on my videos, because every once in a while there's a transphobic comment, of course, and like I can't deal with it. Like, I don't want to. And my girlfriend has offered to read and filter my comments for me, which is very generous and kind. She did that one time, but it's been like a year and a half or whatever since we've gotten back to it. But maybe we'll do that again soon. And I've kind of let slip a trans community, and like I hardly have any trans friends that I see more than once or twice a year or something at events. I don't even hardly go to trans related events except for Pride. But I've been realizing, you know, actually that community and support is super important. And so I actually want to try to get back into that. It's important for all of us to have a community. It's hard being trans without that sometimes. So I think I'll end it here. Sorry for another insanely long video. If you've watched till this point, thank you. And I hope you have found it interesting. And I hope everybody's well. And yeah, thank you. Bye.